This weekend, we lose an hour of sleep and gain an hour of evening sun because of daylight saving time. While many look forward to those brighter evenings, daylight saving time can be tough on our sleep, our bodies, and overall health. Duke University sleep psychologist Dr. Jade Wu is here. Dr. Jade Wu is here with more. Dr. Wu, thanks so much for being here. You know that I'm a sleep science nerd, it's our pleasure. You know I'm a sleep science nerd, so it's amazing for me to see the contrast in my Twitter timeline right now of, on the one hand, all these people so excited to have those longer evenings, and then the sleep scientists that I follow all advocating that we stop daylight saving time for good. So walk us through this. What effect does daylight saving time have on our health?
Well, in the few days after we transition to daylight saving time, there are actually higher numbers of fatal car accidents, heart attacks and strokes, greater rates of suicidal thoughts and depression symptoms, and even emergency room visits. And I've also heard that the stock market also tends to be more volatile. And so these health problems and performance problems are in part due to us losing hours of sleep in the few days following the transition. But it's also due to having a circadian misalignment, which means our internal biological clocks being out of sync with our outside environments.
So when you wake up in the morning going forward after daylight saving time, you get those longer evenings, more sunlight then, but when you wake up in the morning, it's darker. So how does that impact us?
Yeah, that's actually a problem for our health, because when we have more darkness in the mornings, we're depriving our brains of having an important cue, which is light, to tell us that it's time to ramp up. It's time to start the machinery of the body. And the light in the morning is also how our brain resets its own biological clock, internal clock every day. So losing that cue is not good. And also having more light in the evenings can actually make us more like night owls, biologically speaking. And that can be detrimental for some people. It can make it harder to lose weight. It can make it harder for our brain to function properly. So all of this just sort of throws us off track, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And we've read now that there are reports showing more cases of microsleeping after daylight saving time. That's when you briefly nod off or you lose concentration, which can be really dangerous in circumstances like if you're driving, for example. So what causes that? What's happening in the body there?
Sure. So a microsleep, like you said, is a really brief time when the brain falls asleep. Even if you're going about your day, you're driving, you're doing chores, your brain might just drop off into a little bit of sleep for a few seconds. And that happens if we're sleep deprived, if we have insufficient sleep. So if, for example, for a few days now after daylight saving transition, you have been sleeping an hour less per night, that might add up. And especially if you were already not getting enough sleep before that, you might be really sleep deprived. And so your brain is really craving that sleep, really trying to fall asleep for just a little bit, catch a little bit. But sometimes that happens at inconvenient or even dangerous times.
So how can we avoid these detrimental health effects from daylight saving time? I know many are advocating that we do away with it, but in the meantime, we have to deal with it. So what can we do?
Well, the best way to be resilient during time changes is actually to keep a really consistent sleep-wake schedule in general, year-round. So that means having a set wake-up time, a pretty consistent get-up time, and trying to wind down around the same time in the evenings as well. Now, you know that we don't necessarily want to go to bed at a very strict time every night when we're not feeling sleepy, because that might actually cause insomnia. So we want to wind down at about the same time, but not force ourselves to go to bed until we're actually sleepy.
And we know during the winter time, because we get less sunlight, there's a lot of advocacy for or suggestions for using bright light therapy to help with seasonal disorders where people get kind of depressed because they don't get enough light. Can you use that kind of thing to get more light in the morning after daylight saving time to help set your body clock?
Absolutely. I do that myself, actually. I have a light box sitting right at my desk, so about 2, 3 feet in front of me. And that actually gives me a burst of alertness. It helps my brain to reset its clock and it boosts my mood too. So I really do recommend that. Now, be careful with that if you have eye problems or eye strain, that might hurt. And don't look directly at the light. Just have it sort of a little bit diagonally off to the side. And if someone has bipolar disorder or has high risk for bipolar disorder, they should also check with their doctor before using bright light therapy.
All right, Dr. Jade Wu, great to have you. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me, Diane.
It's our pleasure.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.